Hey there, I'm Mark Traeger, and I sit down with Evan Carmichael in a 10-part series because I was able to build an over $1 million a year business. 10 years ago now, I was in the recession. I was at the point in my life where I had no revenue, I had no employees, I had no clients, and I thought I was going to shut down my business. I was able to go from zero to $1 million plus by following some simple steps. In this 10-part series, Evan and I sit down and we break through everything. We look at operations, we look at how to build your portfolio, we look at where to get your customers from. The first video starts right now. It's going to help you take your business to the next level.
What's up, Believe Nation? I am testing a new series on how to build $1 million company, and I thought I'd start with a friend of mine, Mark Draber. That's awesome. Let's keep that in. Mark Draeger.
I've only known you for 12 years. Can't even say my name.
That's the best. I'm so happy I flubbed the intro. We got to keep all this in. Mark has built an awesome $1 million plus business in the... What are you doing?
This is a dog just randomly showing up.
Of course.
This is fun.
What do we teach people to do? We teach you how to build an agency, marketing agency. If you want to build a $1 million plus marketing agency, that is what this series, 10-part series, is all about. And so, do you have a quick, something quick you want to intro, say about yourself, what you do?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I started Phanta 12 years ago. We started really heavily focused on video, but as marketing has changed, as advertising has changed, we've been able to expand into all assets or facets of digital marketing and analytics, because really, you wanted me to start with one piece of value, so we might as well start right away.
Yeah.
The only thing that matters is the value you drive to a client. It seems basic, but that's the only thing that matters.
Okay, so point number one, this video, you have to drive value to your client. How do you do it?
So it starts with trying to figure out what your skill sets are. So what are you good at?
Yeah.
If you're really great at design and you like marketing, then it makes more sense to start a creative type of agency. If you're really great at websites and building websites, then it makes more sense to start a digital type of agency. Whatever your passion is and whatever you focus on is where your business will go anyway. So the first place to start is figuring out what are you really good at. And you don't have to be the best at it, but when you're starting, you want a few people to be able to say like, oh, you got a gift here, or you're talented, or that's really good, or we really like it. And it seems super, super basic, but that positive reinforcement is going to help you build confidence and get you through things. And that's where you start. So for us, we started with video.
Yeah.
Right, I went to film school. I went and worked in corporate video. If you go back and look at our stuff from 12 years ago, it's not good. It's really, really bad work. And but I started with video because that's what I knew. And then the video became video marketing, and then video marketing became, oh, we need to put this on a landing page. And then the landing page became, oh, can you do the microsite? And for years, we had clients asking us, they said, oh, we love how you do video so much. Can you please do this other stuff for us? And we said, no, we're video agency only, so sorry, you have to go find someone else. And we would hear all these bad things about bad experiences, and finally we said, why are we turning clients away when they like us, when they like what we do? Why don't we apply what we're doing to all of these other styles of work?
Yeah.
And so that's how our company turned into a full-service digital agency or full-service marketing agency, because the clients were coming to us and saying, please help us with these other things.
Right.
And so it's okay to start with just focusing on logo design, or it's okay to start with trying to be the best at creating a landing page and driving traffic to that landing page.
Yeah.
It's all about what you're good at and then marrying up that with value. Right? We can't lose sight of the fact that, I say this to my team, it matters more what clients think about your work than the quality of the work.
Okay.
Right? That bothers
Perceived
me
value.
because I'm a perfectionist, right?
Yeah.
I have high standards. So I go, oh, it should all be about how good the work is, but it's not, right? It's how people feel about the work.
Right.
Right? So if you're working with people and you're starting out and you go, oh, I don't have a portfolio, but you have one or two people who like you.
Right.
That's great.
Right.
Start.
Right.
Right?
People like that I called you Draber instead of Draeger.
No one likes that. No one likes that.
If you guys like that, put it in the comments. I'm going to screenshot and show Mark how much you love that we called him Draber. So the point of this series is to get specific, right? So somebody wants to build $1 million plus marketing agency. So tip number one is you have to know yourself, what you love doing, where you can bring the most value. So I'm thinking, okay, I love that, I agree. Now what's my next step? If I'm just starting, how do I figure out, maybe not even what I'm good at yet, because you may not be good at it at the start, but you have a passion for the thing to get better at. How do I make that decision to know, yes, this is the right path?
So you can do as much planning as you want. You can do as much thinking as you want. I started my company, I was really young. I was 24.
Yeah.
But I actually had written a business plan. That sounds really fancy. I had actually printed off a bunch of other people's websites and kind of came up with the idea for what I wanted to start 3 years earlier. And I only remembered that like much later. I found all these notes and I was like, where are all these websites? And I was like, oh yeah, when I was like 19 or 20, I had this vision of starting something.
Yeah.
So do you want to start something? Like ask yourself, if you want to start something and you're really good at it, then it's not complicated. Like you just have to start. You just have to start because it's going to take you time to get better, and that's okay. It's going to take you time to listen to the clients who you're working with and fix your operations and all the other topics that we're going to kind of get into in other videos.
Yep.
But there's not really much magic to it other than the courage to just say, this is something I'm doing. And being okay with getting better.
Yeah.
And being okay with figuring it out later. You know, when we switched maybe 3.5, 4 years ago from being only video, right? And the previous video we did was how to build a multi-million dollar or whatever video company, and now we're talking about marketing.
Yeah.
We just switched.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, this is who we are now, and this is what we do. And I started talking to people. I took them out for lunch, and I said, this is what we want to do. This is how we want to help, and people like that. So if you want to start a website company, decide, okay, I want to start a website company. Start talking to people about the fact that you are now a website company.
Yeah.
And how you want to help them.
I get it. I mean, and that's the point of this series, because people will overthink those things.
Yeah. Like when I started, we didn't have a website for the first 2 months.
Yeah.
Now this is in 2006, but I mean in 2006 we started the company. We started the company with no website for 2 months.
Right.
Even if you go through, if anyone goes through the Wayback Machine, it took us 4 years to actually create something that wasn't
still
embarrassing.
Wayback Machine? I think they
Wayback
stopped
Machine,
keeping track. No, they're still keeping track.
Yeah, if you want to go way back, phantamedia.com. Like it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. For,
jinx, double jinx.
Yeah. You not jinx me or no? I was saying to someone the other day, I'm like, I think we're on our 4th logo. We've been around 12 years. We're on our 4th logo.
Yeah.
And that's because our first bunch of logos were really bad.
Okay.
Right? They just weren't good. We incorporated the company because we thought like, oh, if we have the word incorporated or limited or company, it'll seem big. Like we just made lots of mistakes. So just don't worry about that. Get started.
Right.
Get started with one client that turns into 3, that turns into 6, that turns into try to do good work, try to listen. So but really the core for kind of the first part of it is thinking about the type of company you want to build. Do you want to be a great freelancer?
Okay.
That's running a company.
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to be a freelancer as 2 or 3 people working for you? Do you want to have a team of 30 or 40 people? That's like a totally different type of company. And you're not going to be there from day one. But understand.
What do you need to be at to hit $1 million in revenue? What size? You can't do that as a freelancer? Can you do that as a freelancer?
No.
Right? So like what size team do you need to be at to hit $1 million?
So
a range.
I mean, you're going to be anywhere between, maybe if you're killing yourselves, 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, up to. Up to anything, I guess. But if you have 1,000 people, you're making $1 million. You're not in business.
No, I mean, if you're so I'm talking about like full-time staff.
Yeah.
If you're outsourcing, because you can build a great outsource model too, where you're outsourcing tons and tons of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing $1 million and you only have 20% margins, then you're only earning $200,000 in-house.
Yeah.
So you're only going to have 2, 3 people on salary.
Yeah.
But if you do everything in-house and you're doing $1 million, you might have 8, 9, 10, 12. It depends on your cost of living. It depends the area you're working in.
Yep.
Right.
So if somebody's just getting started, or they've started their agency, and they like, man, I want to be like Mark in a couple of years.
The biggest thing I hear, sorry to interrupt, the biggest thing I hear from people, because I have conversations once or twice a month with other people trying to do it.
Yeah.
Most people aren't starting out.
Okay.
Right. If you're starting out, think ahead.
Okay.
Most people are doing this for a year or 2,
okay,
and they're not getting any traction.
Okay.
Right.
Are we going to cover that in future videos, or that this is?
Let's add it.
Okay.
It wasn't a topic.
Okay, here we go. Bring it in. How to gain traction.
But I was going to say,
yeah,
these things take time.
Yeah.
And there are these tipping points, right? You always talk about focus on momentum.
Yeah.
Right. Focus on momentum. Things start to pick up.
Yeah.
I never knew that year 4 would be easier than year 3.
Right.
Or that year 3 would be slightly easier than year 2. Right. Like the longer you're doing it, the more that you're doing. It's not that things get easier, but you're just more well known. You know more people. You've had more opportunities. You've done more work. you're in the game for longer. And so focus on some momentum. But most people who feel like they're not getting traction, it's because they're only 2 or 3 years into it, or they're 4 or 5, and then they're not making big changes. And so you have to be willing to make those changes. You have to give it some time. So going all the way back, start. Like start the clock now. Start the clock tomorrow. So that way you're like, this is what we're doing. And don't worry about the business card. Don't worry about the website. Start telling people this is what you're doing. Start doing free work. Start honing your skills. Start talking to lots of people. Right? Decide the type of company you want to be. Think about your skill sets and just start.
Okay, so if somebody's trying to go from deciding, like the point of this video is decide what you want to,
the type of company you want to be,
and how you can bring value to your clients. Right? What are 3 questions that I need to be asking myself to figure out that problem?
Oh, very good.
So everybody watching, ask yourself these 3 questions.
So I would say, what is something that you feel is easy, but you're surprised that isn't easy for other people?
Okay, good.
Right, that was mind-blowing for me when I started, and I was a few years in, and I started hiring people, and I got frustrated. I was like, this is really simple stuff.
Right.
And then I learned, I was like, oh, I'm just actually really good at this.
Right. Okay, that's a good one.
But it seemed so easy to me, like I felt bad charging people money for it.
Right.
It was so easy.
Right.
But so that's the first question. What's something that seems really easy to you, but others are like they can't do or they struggle with? There's just value there. The second question, always ask yourself if you're good enough.
Okay.
Right? Now this can be really depressing, right? Like I ask myself if I'm good enough and I just end up with like, no, I'm not.
Okay.
Right? So the other side of that is to pull yourself out of that hole by figuring out what are the few things you can do to get better. Right? Like I look at competition and I go, gosh, they're so good. Are we even doing anything good? Right? And I've been doing this for 12 years. Like people look at me, like I actually had a conversation with someone who's my competition.
Right.
And he's looking at me and he's going, these guys are so good. And I'm looking at him going, these guys are so good. And meanwhile, we're like, we could be best friends because we're in the same place and doing the same thing. But there's like some kind of healthy competition there. So when you're starting out, look at a few people that you think are achievable. Ask yourself if you're good enough. And then like really use that not to get yourself depressed, but to close that gap.
Right.
Because everybody starts somewhere, right? And so if you're able to...
It's a kick forward, not down.
Yeah.
But you're still getting the kick.
That would be the second thing.
I like it.
And then the third thing I would say is you can't be everything to everybody.
Okay.
And I still struggle with this too.
So what's the question with that?
So the question would be, what are those core elements that I really should be focusing on and doing? And what are the things that I shouldn't be wasting my time on and saying no to? And I fall into this all the time. You know, I have friends ask me to help them with their website when I have no time.
Right. You gotta dump those friends.
Do I? Mr. Carmichael? Right?
Those friends don't serve you, man.
Yeah, so you can't be everything to everybody. When you're starting, the more niche you are, the harder and yet easier it is.
So like what would be a niche example?
If you're like, I'm only going to ever focus on logo design, right?
For athletes or for sports brands?
That's even better.
Okay.
Like it depends on, again, the type of company you want to build.
Right.
If you want to be...
Good starting point? Like I'm going to develop websites for the yoga industry and be the best yoga website person and then expand from there?
That's a great way to look at it.
Okay.
It's hard, but it's a fast way to grow.
Okay.
Right. So when I started the company,
Why is it hard?
It's hard because when there's no one talking to you, there's no one talking to you. There's zero revenue. There's nothing happening. But
how does the yoga thing make it worse?
So when I started, we were doing lots of things for lots of people. Again, I was like, oh, a little money here and a little money here and a little money here. You know, I need $800 and $1,000.
And is that good?
I mean, it helped me generate $100,000 of revenue my first year.
That's a lot more than everybody when they're first starting up.
That was great.
But you recommend that you do it again? Is that the path? Like people are watching, like, man, 100K, like they would love to have 100K.
I know,
revenue.
but here's the problem. Here's the problem. I had 100K of revenue, but only like 18 of it was doing the stuff I wanted to do.
So do you recommend that or no? Do you put your foot down and say, this is what I do?
I wouldn't do it again that way.
How would you do it if you're starting over?
If you're...
You're 24-year-old Drager again.
Yeah, I mean...
I said it right this time.
24-year-old Drager. So this is the struggle, right? Like when I started my company, my wife had no income because she was just graduating college. My first daughter was 3 months old, and I quit my job. I quit my $40,000 a year job. And I was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to start my company. And I had $100,000 revenue.
Yeah.
And that year we took home $17,000 pay.
Right.
So we were living below the poverty line for the first year. So, I mean, I had to hustle. I had to not go bankrupt. I had to make it happen.
So what would you do
but if I could have,
Yeah.
if I could do it again, I would say, you know what? We did all of that work on all of those different things, and I still only made 17 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about having the courage to say, we'll get through that first year. Things will get better. And if I had focused all my efforts only on that one thing that we were good at, maybe I still would have made 17 or 18 grand.
Right.
And maybe I would have actually been less busy.
Right.
Right? It's uncomfortable not to be busy.
So if you want to be the yoga website person,
If you want to be the web,
Say
by year
no.
2 it's better, by year 3 it's even better.
but say no to the guy who wants you to make a car dealership website.
Of course. Or say no to the
Even though
person
there's
who
money
goes,
in the hand.
say no to the person who's like, oh, you seem to be pretty good at design, can you do my business cards?
Right.
Right?
And say no.
If you want to be a design company, be a design company. If you want to be a website company, be a website company. If you want to be a photography company, do that.
What if
video
it pays
agency.
you more than 17K?
Do,
what if
do
it's
you
like-
love it?
No.
Is it your skill set?
Yes.
But you don't like it?
Nope.
So what's your passion?
I want to be the yoga guy. I don't want to design your business cards.
So then say no. Don't fall into the temptation of just
Well, but
taking the money and
I'm just
losing a
playing
few
devil's
years.
advocate, 'cause that's what people do,
You're
right?
going to lose a few years. Is it worth costing you a few years? Right? It will slow you down.
So Draeger, like, go back to 24-year-old Draeger. Mark, can you help me with my business cards? But I'm not going to pay you.
Oh, I would have totally done it.
Oh.
But I shouldn't.
No,
I shouldn't
but
have.
like, I'll pay you 17K just my business cards. But that's a
You
battle,
should-
right?
Yeah, listen.
If
There was
it's a
a
high-paying
time.
thing-
There was a time to get through the first year where this company hired us to do landing pages. Right.
Right.
We were starting a video agency.
Right. But if
we're
they're-
doing landing pages, and I'm outsourcing it to my wife, and I'm saying like, hey, copy and paste this stuff because we needed the $11,000, to come in and pay the bills.
But when it is high paying and you have bills to pay, but you don't love it, do you still do it? Like, is that the life? Could it save your business? Or do you say like, no?
if you're gonna lose your apartment,
Yeah.
if you're gonna not make rent, if you're
Yeah.
not gonna make payroll,
Yeah.
if you have a gap, then take it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, listen, like you got to. If those are the case,
Yeah.
if you are taking that 17 grand,
Yeah.
and you are losing 3 months of your time,
Yeah.
to make payroll,
Yeah.
and there are other things that are lower margins waiting for you in the wings,
Yeah.
then that's going to hold you back.
Right.
If you have nothing to do.
Right.
How many businesses that are starting up that have nothing to do? You're focusing
Sure.
on the wrong stuff.
Sure.
Right?
But
So-
it's paying opportunities versus non-paying opportunities, like biz dev, right? Getting out
Listen,
there talking to people.
The number one thing that I see holding business owners back
Yeah.
is they're too selfish when they start.
Meaning?
They imagine that they should be paid first. You shouldn't be paid first. Right? They imagine that they should earn some kind of income. Like, oh, if I was working for someone else, I should earn some kind of income. And they rob all the operating capital out of the company.
Yeah.
Right? If you really, like, the ones who take off are the people who don't pay themselves for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Who work, who live in the office that they work in because they can only afford a single rent and they don't have 2 rents.
Yeah.
When I was really trying to kickstart 3 years in my business, I took out a loan. I used that loan to hire someone.
Right.
And I stopped paying myself for 6 months.
Right. I remember that.
And my wife was like, hey,
Right. I think I was like, hey, too,
hey,
wasn't I?
why are you borrowing money to pay someone else and you're not
Right.
paying yourself?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like I've seen it
Yeah,
with
yeah.
friends
Yeah.
who go like, oh, we have 3 partners in the business and all partners need to earn this to live. It's
Right.
like, you have too many partners.
Yeah.
Right? The company needs revenue to do what the work it needs to do. So that way later you can be like, look at how great this company is.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't know that starting. I was nervous to use any cash. But
Right.
even now, I feel like I should earn like double or triple what I pay myself because
believe.
I'm worth that.
Right.
But I'm trying to do something great here. And,
Yeah.
and that takes resources.
Yeah.
So don't rob the company of that money because you feel like I've worked really hard, I'm entitled to this or that.
Right.
Right? Put that off for 12 months, 18 months, and give yourself little treats if you need it. But like the little treat should be
What's
like,
your
hey,
favorite little treat?
early on, I gave my wife $500 to buy new clothes. Like
My treat was going to McDonald's and getting a large French fries
Right.
and sharing it with 3 people.
Right.
Like, I get it. Right.
you know,
Anything.
this was 2 to 2.5 years in.
Yeah.
Right. We're earning I think I was
Yeah.
17. I think I went to 32 grand the next
It
year.
doesn't have to cost a lot. It's a celebration. It's like, hey,
No,
you know
it was more like the surprise.
Yeah.
Like it's been 2 years since we bought clothing.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
like, here you go.
Yeah.
Have an afternoon. Like, you can spend a lot of, like, it feels like a lot of money. We got no money, $500.
Oh man,
Right? 2 years, she earned that.
Sounds like $300 a month, dude. I hear you.
So answer those 3 questions. Mark Drager dropping some knowledge gold. We are going to now cover pricing in the next video, how much to charge, all the financials of your business. You're going to want to check it out. Click that link right next to us.